County NAACP meets once a month. Generally, we meet on the third Monday at 6. We meet at 812 East Broadway here in West Memphis at the Afrika Books and Cultural Center. The first reason we meet is because it's required under the bylaws that we meet once a month. We actually meet a lot more than that, but we have one general meeting. We have several meetings during the week as often as we need to take care of business and make other decisions. Most of our meetings, we invite elected officials, law enforcement, business people out. Our main objective over the last few years has been to inform the community. We want to make sure that you know about the hospital, jobs that's going to provide, healthcare services it's going to provide. We brought the county sheriff has come out over the last 8 years, been there twice to talk about law enforcement, careers in law enforcement, what to expect from law enforcement when you encounter them. We've had the county judge, here, Judge Woody Wheeler's county judge, and of course in Arkansas, it's kind of like the county mayor. And he talks about the budget and what the county does. We this past month, we had Minister Tony Williams, who's a Tony Wilson, who is a expert in the area of nonprofits, and he came out and talked about putting nonprofits together, what you can do with them. So it was very informative. People here really enjoyed it because a lot of people have nonprofit organizations, but they really don't know what to do with them. They need tutoring, and so we offer that kind of thing. We'll probably be having hospital executives again back here soon. We just met just a few minutes ago with a couple of gentlemen that are building small affordable homes in our area. And so whatever we can do to hook our people up to affordable health care, to affordable housing, education, civil rights advocacy, legal aid, just the services that our community needs, we try to be an advocate for those things and to try to bring people together with folk who have things to offer. If you read a book by Martin Luther King, I think it was his third book, it's called Why We Can't Wait, and it dealt essentially with the campaign in Birmingham, Alabama in 1963. And as you probably know, Dr. King was in jail for several days, and so he took the time to write, and he answered his critics, because if you are out being an activist, you're going to have critics. And he normally did not deal with his critics because you can waste a lot of time dealing with critics. Some famous prophets like Nehemiah in the Bible deals with the issue of critics. He says, he tells one of his critics, he said, "Why I'm doing a great work, why should the work cease whilst I come down to you?" In other words, I don't have time to fool with you because you're not doing anything. We're busy. But anyway, he had a lot of critics from the religious community, in particular, a lot of clergy. And they essentially thought that, they were attempting to say that what he was doing was inappropriate, that he was stirring up trouble, and that he should stay in the pulpit and stop doing all this civil rights and advocacy for social justice, that somehow or another, yes, people actually said those kinds of things. So he said, and I remember some words, he said, while you teach people about an over yonder salvation, the people are perishing in earthly hell. And he went on to say, why don't you criticize the circumstances that leave us with no other choice but to do what we do with the same level of vehemence with which you criticize me. So when people say, why don't you change your approach, you should, any person that is a leader or a spokesperson or a group should always stop and consider, are there better strategies, or are there better approaches to get across their messages? I don't necessarily think that that's an inappropriate question, but I do question people who themselves are not doing very much. Often the problem is that they are part of the system that you're critiquing or criticizing, and they don't like the fact that you're holding them accountable. And I'm not saying that every single person that does that. Sometimes people I often use the word, we are You know, when black people were brought here, we've been colonized, domesticated. And a colonized person's thinking is different than a person who's seeking true liberation and freedom. He's normally trying to figure out a way that he can stay comfortable with the system that he's under. And so we understand the source of those questions. So my answer, and I'm sure Miss Rubye, she can talk about it if she wants to, but my answer to people is that if there's something that you think is lacking in what we're doing, you're free to do it the way that you think is effective. Go right ahead. You know, the NAACP is not the only organization. All of us have a responsibility to change the world in which we live for the better. And right now, you're free to make a decision about what you think that is. So go ahead and do you. But right now, our objective was to expose our community to the lies and the misconceptions and the false prophets and many of the people that we believe that have been pimping our community for generations. We exposed that. And of course they didn't like it. The drug dealer doesn't want you to call out his name. Those who, the thief doesn't want you to call him out. He doesn't want the light being shone on him. So I think somewhere in there, what you've got are, there's this narrative that people try to create that if you criticize and offer an alternative way of looking at this world, that something's wrong with you. So it's okay. There's always going to be pushback. You know, when you're trying to do something good, there's going to be pushback.
If you remember, during the civil rights, the ones of you who are old enough to remember, if you have read about it, you had Dr. King, you had the Black Panthers, you had Malcolm X. Well, each one of those people served a purpose, because if we have so many problems that it takes a variety of ideas and a variety of methods to get things done. For the ones who said that Martin was too peaceful, there was some that said Malcolm was too radical and the Black Panther was too radical. But it took those people, all three of those people and more, to get the job done. And what happened was that the powers to be decided that they rather deal with Martin. But you see still what happened at the end. They killed him. So it just take a variety. So once again, if the way we're doing it is not satisfactory to you, then we welcome you to do it your way, and we'll work with you just as well.